Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Poi N Soy podcast. Today, we have a special guest. I am your co-host, Nolan Tcheng.
Oh, Keoni McKeague.
Jared Shirai.
And today's special guest, a good friend of ours. We've known him for years. He is our authority on comic book related information. He is also a talented digital artist. Please check him out. We'll give you his handles after the show. But our friend Jalen Holsten, please give us a little introduction.
Hello everyone. Yes, I'm so excited to have a little bit of mocha dipped into this soy and poi, if you will. Right? Get all the spices flowing. It's gonna be a great time. I'm so happy. It's been so long. Also, good lord, seeing all of your faces.
Definitely.
Minus Jared because he's grandpa.
I still look the same, Jalen. I'm Asian.
Yeah, Asian don't raise it.
That's true.
But yes, today's episode, we are going to be talking about the last episode of Moon Knight season finale, episode 6. We'll go into that for a bit, but the big one is we're going over Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. It's going to be great. We're going to go through all the goodies. So this will be a spoiler-heavy episode. If you guys have not seen the movie or even Moon Knight's last episode, we recommend that you guys go watch that. Just put this in your save or whatever, queue for videos later. Come watch it, or in the podcast form, you can listen to it whenever. But yeah, we're going to get that started going off on Moon Knight episode 6. We'll kind of start off with Jalen. We'll give you kind of the inaugural statement of the show. What did you think about the last episode?
Ooh. Oh, be still, my heart. I get to say this thing. Oh, my God.
Guess,
oh, man. I thought it was a pretty solid, yes, the ladies first. Excuse you, sir. It's man. First of all. No. First of all, great. I think they stuck the landing as far as I'm concerned. Everything kind of wrapped up pretty nice. There's some good things heading into the ending. I'm glad that we got confirmation on that third personality being Jake
Lockley.
But I figured that was going to happen for sure. That's the only other one that's really been popular with Moon Knight. But yeah, that was freaking amazing. The CGI also looked surprisingly good. I didn't think it was going to look that great.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Good from me.
Keoni, what are your thoughts on the episode?
It was everything and anything I expected from the show. I think we pretty much hit it on the nail with all of our predictions from last week. We kind of predicted what was going to happen with Jake being revealed. We kind of predicted what was going to happen with Harold's character. So honestly, great way to end the show. Great way to just kind of slide in there and kind of set the tone for what's going to happen for the rest of the MCU. So I'm pretty excited.
Jared, your thoughts?
I think Keoni took exactly what I was going to say, though. Everything that we talked about the week before about Harold, about the revising Steven, introducing Jake. I mean, we kind of talked about all that. I mean, we talked, the one thing that I would say is, like, we talked about the goodbye to Steven and how we thought it was a perfect ending. But I do like how they brought him back because he's like that calm demeanor between everything. But
agreed.
We were talking about it last week and how great an actor he is to go from Jake from Jake to Steven to Mark. I mean, even the way they CGI'd the suit it was amazing. That was the crazy part.
That scene in the sky where it's flipping between.
Yeah.
But overall rating, dude, that was off the charts for me. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. And I'm glad it summed it up, setting up the rest of it.
Yeah. Personally, I enjoyed the episode. I think that outside of WandaVision, of the Marvel TV shows, this one has had a either plateau or gradual incline with each episode in how you guys receive it. I think it was great. Definitely kind of how Jared said, I enjoyed the scenes flipping between the suits. It was a bittersweet kind of decision if they were going to bring back Steven. Obviously, for the lore of Moon Knight, it's kind of redundant to not have him be a part of Moon Knight.
Agreed.
I think the fight scene between Amit and Khonshu by the pyramid was freaking amazing, which is great. Kind of like layers to it where you have the background fight and the ground fight going on. But yeah, I think the only issue I wish is that they maybe make it 8 episodes instead. I think they could have like stretched it had a little more breathing room for it. I think a lot of it kind of was, we have this much time for this episode, let's get it all in there, which was nice because the pace was like go, 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 go. But definitely a good episode. I enjoyed how they finished the series. What are you guys' predictions right now on where we're going to see Moon Knight next? Because we kind of mentioned it last week that there isn't necessarily a concrete confirmation if this is a limited series or not. I know they've entered it as a limited series, but there's been a lot of back and forth because obviously the ending with Jake showing up in the limo kind of leaves a lot to the imagination if they're going to continue Moon Knight's storyline. But kind of going from that, obviously they could just wrap it up in a bow and put it in someone else's movie or show. Jalen, what do you think? When do you think we're gonna see him next, and potentially what?
Scorching hot take. If we're going to see him anywhere, it's probably going to be in some Black Panther movie down the line. I don't think that for sure we're going to get another Moon Knight show like season. Yeah. I think it's more of he's in the universe now. We got him. It's cool. And then he'll just pop up in one of those. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm thinking, mainly because we're dealing with gods and myths and creatures of that nature.
Absolutely.
And he has had some overlap in the comics with Black Panther and the Midnight Suns as well. That's another great spot he could pop up. With Ghost Rider, Blade, and some of them, like that would be so sick if he just popped up in Blade somewhere.
I mean, yeah, that could definitely be something. I think we mentioned it last week that because there was obviously some touched on references to like the ancestral plane. Obviously, Egypt is in Africa. There is a kind of geographical relevance to both. And I think from what I heard, I don't know if you've heard this as well, Jalen. Oscar Isaac only signed on for the season, so it's more of they have to kind of make that extension with him now that this show is done, moving forward to see what they'll put him in. Keoni, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're going to see him next? When?
I honestly hadn't even thought about the fact that he would pop up in Black Panther, but that's actually a really good place for him to pop up. You're right. It makes sense geographically, but I was thinking he was going to pop up in the next Blade or in the Blade movie because of his ties to the Midnight Suns and them kind of dropping the hint with Blade at the end of the Eternals talking to Black Knight and all that. But wow, yeah, you're right. He could definitely pop up in Black Panther. I was not even thinking about that. Jalen, I'm so glad you're on this podcast. So glad to have you back, man. It's just nice to have.
I got you.
Nice
dude.
to have all the knowledge just pouring out. Because honestly, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a good part of this that I know, but there's a good part of it that I do not know, and you are the filler of all of that information that I do not know. So. Love to have you back, Jalen.
I just love filling you up, my guy. That's what I live for. Filling up Keoni's holes
in All right, I'm gonna.
That
mic is broken. I'm gonna fix that real quick.
Us on the Poi N Soy OnlyFans, starring Keoni and Jalen. Jared, so what do you think? Where do you think we could potentially see him next? In what vein?
I was right on the same track with Jalen. When they talked about the ancestral plane, the first thing that came to mind was Black Panther. Didn't really, because like we talked about, I'm not too big on the history as far as like where he goes or where he was with this and going forward. So when the astral plane came up, the first thing that came to mind was like, oh, he might end up in a Black Panther movie, or you might see him somewhere along those lines. But going forward, I mean, I would love to see him in the Blade movie. I mean, I'm open to anything after, and I know we're not there yet, but after watching this last movie, I'm open to a lot of different things. That could go a lot of different ways. Like you said, I think Keoni said, now that he's in the universe, like he's there. So where he pops up next will just be an added bonus, no matter what movie he decides to be in.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen said that, but yeah.
Oh.
No,
it's just Jalen.
The real Jalen.
It's the same person. They're both
wow.
No, but yeah, I agree with all you guys. I think, but the big thing is, I don't think he'll be in the Black Panther movie that's supposed to be coming out beginning next year, within the year. I think it is a little bit too soon, but I do agree that it's going to be a future project that potentially has either him with Black Panther or something along the lines of Blade, because I think Blade is supposed to come out in 2 years next.
There's early development on Blade for sure.
But they're
the 100% chance though probably is Echo if that show actually gets made from Hawkeye or whatever. Because I would love to see Daredevil instead of Moon Knight in that show particularly.
Yeah,
that show's already in production, no? Echo?
It was announced. It was announced before I think the release of Hawkeye, but there hasn't really been too much update regarding it.
I guess the good thing is that she did a really good job in Hawkeye, so they kind of.
But what
I gave a little bit
is
of
there to see with her? Like what is like what? Where if you don't bring in someone like Daredevil or another big Marvel character, why am I gonna watch Echo?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this and this. Okay, hold on. Let me think about how I'm gonna phrase this. Exactly. I'm gonna phrase this statement correctly.
You say Keoni.
What I was gonna say is that I think that they're definitely pushing the narrative of like these hot political issues with the use of more women in these roles of like powerful roles and all this stuff. So I feel like the reason why they want to establish Echo in the universe is to have another powerful woman in the universe. I mean, we have a lot of them right now, but I think that them establishing kind of this new guard of superheroes. I mean, they're already starting it with the new Hawkeye. They're starting it with the new Black Widow or whatever Yelena's character is supposed to be. They're starting with Echo, and then all of these. Yeah, exactly. So and then of course Love and Thunder dropped the trailer, and there's what is her Natalie Portman as So for me, I think that's the reason why they'd like you to be invested. I mean, she's definitely new to the acting game. This is her first gig as far as acting. But she is, on point with the character. She is actually a deaf, person in real life, and she
has a prosthetic leg.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, like, I think that's why they're trying to push the show. And I mean, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like for me, more Marvel is good. Like honestly, like what they've done so far, the way they fleshed out the universe, I'm excited to see anybody. And I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, I'm excited for the show, regardless of the fact that I had known nothing about it, because that was the same thing when Moon Knight was announced. No idea who Moon Knight is. No idea what Moon Knight does. When the show came out, goodness, I'm so glad we got Moon Knight. So I say anything they do, let's bring it on.
I was gonna say though, I think kind of a side note, but also related, with potentially him showing up maybe with Blade in his Blade movie. What do you guys think they're going to do with the introduction of vampire lore? Because obviously they kind of tapped in on it a little bit, I think in Eternals, but there hasn't really necessarily been a precedent for vampires in the MCU. Do you think they could use maybe Moon Knight Egyptian kind of mythology and make some sort of vampire coven based off of something that goes on with Egyptian?
That'd be a kind of cool twist.
I mean, I don't know how they would do it, because I haven't seen a vampire in the movies yet. So.
I mean, Edward Cullen's coming through, right?
No, that's DC. God,
I'm just kidding. God.
But yeah, Jalen, what do you think?
I mean, I think there's definitely an avenue. I think they just go straight horror genre and just do it the traditional style of like how vampires have always been introduced in movies. I think I don't think there's like an extra step that Marvel would have to take to put vampire lore. I mean, Jesus, we got aliens from outer space. We got ninjas and like advanced technology. I don't think it's going to be beyond asking an audience member to be like, hey, would you believe in this Marvel universe there's an underground society of vampires, and this one guy can go between both worlds because he's half
a day
blood, you know what I
walker.
mean? Yeah, and he's also just an incredibly gorgeous chocolate man. You got to accept that.
I
as
mean,
well.
he's 40 something. They got to start going. They got to get going on it. He's not going to be a spry man forever.
Yeah, they got stuntmen for that. He's
an amazing actor, by the way.
He is.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala
Oh my
Ali.
goodness.
Jesus, like how did they snap?
That's honestly that was, if you thought of your perfect candidate for Blade, that's him. Easily. If there was one guy to take over for Wesley Snipes, I mean.
Yeah, and he doesn't even necessarily need to be like jacked, but if he looks in shape, he'll be good to go. I was going to ask, Jalen, since you are here, and I know I don't know how often you do anymore, listen to the John Campea show. What are your thoughts, just because we were talking about bringing in vampires into the MCU fold, what are your potential thoughts on how they're going to bring in the X-Men and mutants in general into the MCU?
Well, there was a little film that came out that I thought for sure was going to introduce them.
Yeah,
but didn't quite go the way I thought. So now I have no fucking idea. Like, if they weren't going to do it in that movie, then I'm not sure. I think the only avenue that I can see now is the next Avengers level movie that we get, whether it's, a Young Avengers or they're going to do Secret Wars, something along those lines, because they, spoiler alert, they did not do it in Multiverse of Madness.
Whoa, I thought you were talking Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, but or Quantumania could do it too, in some weird, fourth dimension. I don't know. Maybe he goes in there and they've just been shrunk this whole time. And it's going to be like bigger. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking,
so that's really the only avenue I can see is maybe the next Avengers level threat type deal is like to bring them in. Because I think most of us nerds were banking on like, well, surely in this movie, when you have Professor X in the trailer.
Oh my God! R.I.P. Professor X, by the way.
Time. Yeah, but Kevin's like, no.
So what I was gonna say though, and just kind of like taking pieces from what we've seen so far. Hi, Lila.
Sorry, she just keeps climbing into the scene. I don't know.
She's like, I need my 5 seconds of fame, man.
I know.
Was kind of going based off of like mixture of multiverse Loki with the different kind of timeline branches from different variants and everything. Now that Tcheng is technically taken over the TVA from the end of the Loki series, what if the introduction of the X-Men is because two timelines, multiverses, universes clash, and it kind of just melds two timelines together? Because everything kind of went haywire because the TVA was like, well, He Who Remains was murdered and everything is back to being a mess. So, I mean, that could be another potential way for them to bring everything in because they are going with Tcheng for the next phase, I guess, of Marvel movies. What do you think? Are my thoughts valid? Are they too outlandish?
Nolan, there was a movie that came out where if we're talking about two universes colliding and having a mess be made, it's almost like there was a perfect setup for something like that.
Like a multiverse one.
It's almost like they had it in the bag to get that setup. No, I'm kidding. That's
madness. What you're talking about?
No,
madness.
Just kidding. It's strange.
But yeah, that could definitely work. I can see it. I can see it. Something like that.
I mean, yeah. Because it's either they have to bring in mutants from another universe or world or timeline or something, or they got to make a good ass reason for why no one has heard of the mutant gene. I think there's definitely some plotting that needs to be kind of worked out.
I mean, technically, at this point, it's not. Lila, I love you so much. Can you just?
She's trying to get Instagram shout outs, that's why.
Yeah, I know.
Give her handle.
Just stay right there. So I'll just say, what was I? Goodness, I just lost my train of thought. No, but what I was just saying is they technically haven't not included. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they said specifically that there are no mutants in the world. I think that with all the things that have happened between the last two movies, which were Spider-Man: No Way Home and this movie that we haven't talked about yet, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. You know what I mean? Like they were focused purely on the storyline, so there's definitely like a lot within the world that can be up for interpretation. And I think mutants is definitely in there. You know what I mean? Like I know they definitely had their golden opportunity, but let's be honest. Why do we keep talking about this movie, even though we're not talking about this movie? But later on, when we talk about this movie, there's a lot of things that get revealed that I'm like, if they dropped that thing as well, I probably would have lost my mind and ran out of the theater because that was a little too much to handle, especially since I had no inkling of any of those things happening. So,
and they're saying now that it's 2023, technically in the MCU, the issue is if you're going to bring in Magneto, he is a Holocaust survivor. He's pushing 80 something. He's pushing 80 something. So
together already.
We're going to have to figure out how they're going to kind of meld everything together. We trust in Kevin Feige, our Lord and Savior of MCU, so I'm sure he will guide us to the promised land as needed. But yeah, other than that kind of wraps up everything for Moon Knight. Do you guys have any last thoughts regarding the show, moving forward, the character in general?
I hope we get more Oscar Isaac. I have a hot take that they're probably going to do what they did with Ewan McGregor. I don't know if you saw that news that got out. He's signed on to do more Obi-Wan now. So I'd say give it a month or two. Let the agents kind of be like, we want billions of dollars. Well, we can only give you millions. Okay. And
say no more.
Have more Oscar Isaac, type deal. And then I'll say my like scorching, sweaty, hot take of what should have happened in the Multiverse of Madness for when we get
Jared, any last thoughts regarding Moon Knight?
No, I just really hope they re-sign him. But the way this series went and the popularity of it, I think there's a very, very big good chance that it'll happen. So I'm just waiting for that.
Oh yeah,
waiting for the news.
Keoni, cap us off.
A couple things we didn't touch on. The introduction of the Scarab. I mean, that was a pretty dope introduction. I mean, her taking over, becoming the avatar for Tarowit, is it Tarowit?
And all of a sudden becoming an A1 fighter.
Yes. That's exactly what I kept thinking. But I was like, you know what? They got so much to, explain. It's whatever. This was the last episode. They kind of had to rush through it. That's like you said. We had 2 more episodes, but yeah, she all of a sudden
she was pretty good though, like on her own before the series. I'm just gonna say, like she was able to body some shit.
She became Captain America.
My one gripe with her character was when she got like pinned to the car.
Yeah,
and like she's like and then she's like protecting herself from bullets.
Like slow motion
right after. Oscar Isaac comes to, all of a sudden she just pops off the pin. Like, oh, you couldn't do that 5 seconds ago.
Exactly.
You couldn't do that 5 seconds ago.
No.
Exactly. But yeah, just the way that they tied in the whole psychiatric ward thing, and they ended with Harrow kind of being in the real world version of it, and then moving on to the introduction of Jake Lockley. Like honestly, for the amount of time that they had. And how short that series was, chef's kiss for that one.
It was a great way to introduce a new character. Not many people know.
Although I do agree with you, Nolan. I feel like they could have put a 7th or 8th episode. Just extend it a little bit. I mean, like you said, it was jam packed, and I feel like they tried to wrap everything up so quickly that another episode, just not to go in super big depth, but just to give a little more information to certain things would have been nice, not just leaving everybody as hanging as you're actually leaving hanging right now.
I mean, from 5th to 6th, there was a lot of stuff that they just kind of spent right through.
Yeah, you literally jumped in and it was boring. It was right into it. For the first 20 minutes, I was like, wow, I can't even use the bathroom right now. I don't even want to. I don't even want
to. TV show. Pause it, Jared.
I was about to say, it's on Disney Plus. You can pause.
You're so invested that you don't even want to move. Like you want to watch the whole thing through. And
go with you to the restroom.
Go with you to the restroom.
It's not like they can see you. They stop the show. Oh, hold up. This guy's pissing.
What's going on in this episode right now? No.
All right, but that kind of.
I was just trying to tell you I was captured by the movie. Gosh darn it!
I get it, but
taking so
Nah,
far
dog.
it's got pause on it. I don't get it.
It's gonna be a big no for me, dog. You got
He says that, but I guarantee you, anyone's probably like watching the show.
Jared's like, I'm peeing in a bottle for this show.
You're like, oh, I really gotta pee, but I can't pause this right now.
Well, when you lie down watching, you really just don't want to get up too.
Oh boy, that was a good one. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah.
I will say the only cringe that Marvel has some things where I look for them now because they are kind of a little woke these days, but they have one cringe moment that almost took me all the way out of the finale, and was when she becomes a scarab for the first time, and then that little girl turns to her and she's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And
She's
I was
like, "Yes."
Okay. All right,
Yes.
we didn't have to.
We get it.
But also, hey,
All right.
kudos to that actor for doing the flip between Talrit and herself in that little
Yes.
underground cavern right before she agreed to be the Avatar. I was like, you've been watching Oscar a bit, haven't you?
May Kalamwi.
Oh.
I wrote her name down because I was like, oh, she did such a great job in the show. I had to
you were saying something in Hawaiian. I was like,
I know,
aloha.
For sure, I thought you were speaking pigeon right there. Like,
Melekilikimaka.
You guys are racist.
That's racist. You two over there, that's racist.
Wow.
But
we are all minorities here.
But yeah, May Kalamwi, she killed the game. Honestly, the fact that the episode kind of closed on her storyline and kind of like focused on her for the majority of it, and then it did obviously focus on Moon Knight, but having her in there as a strong character throughout the entire killed it. I'm excited to see where she goes next. I'm hoping that they do bring her into the fold and kind of let her flesh out her character a lot more and do more things later on.
Gotcha. Of course. Agreed. All right. So that's about it. There's nothing else to talk about Marvel related. So it's been good talking to you guys. We are out of here.
See you later.